Welcome to this week's edition of Peomiosfyrds. I'm Colton Hagstrom, and joined alongside me is Alex Berggren and Blake Harmet. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing so well. I'm so excited to talk about the Whitewater football. So that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, I'm doing great, Colton. It was definitely an exciting weekend, a little bit of a nerve-wracking weekend in terms of Warhawk football. But my Cubs won the World Series, so still relishing in that for sure. So yeah, I'm doing well.
Yeah, and I'm doing well, and the only thing that can make me happier is getting into the Warhawk Roundup. The second-ranked UW-Whitewater football team survived an overtime scare this past Saturday against UW-River Falls. Senior quarterback Chris Nelson ran in the game-winning touchdown to give the Warhawks a 27-20 victory. The team extended their home win streak to 27 games. The football team will play their regular season finale this Saturday at UW-Stout. The 6th-ranked UW-Whitewater women's soccer team has won the WIAC Conference Tournament for the 4th time in 5 years. The Warhawks opened the tournament with a 3-1 victory over the UW-Oshkosh Titans. Then, in the championship game, UW-Whitewater defeated UW-Lacrosse 3-0. The Warhawks will host the first and the second round of the NCAA tournament this weekend. Their first game will be against Minnesota Morris this Saturday. The UW-Whitewater men's soccer team will get the NCAA tournament underway this Saturday when they take on Hanover College out of Indiana at Carthage College. That'll be a neutral site game. What did you guys think of the football game this weekend?
I was so nervous when it went to overtime because we haven't been in overtime since 2002. Ooh. So when I saw, when he ran it in, I was so excited for him because it was senior day and, so it was a really good game, but it was so nerve-wracking because I didn't expect Whitewater to lose or, be close to losing.
Yeah, it was fun. I was at a tailgate for a little bit and then came back because I wanted to watch the broadcast on UWW-TV. And, man, when I turned it on and saw they were down by 10 in the third, I had no idea what to expect. And, man, I watched the rest of the game and was blown away to see them be able to pull it off. It was definitely good to see, but it also kind of made me a little bit worried. We've talked a lot about the flaws that the Warhawks have in their offense with their lack of a passing game. Also, with Jarrett Ware being out, kind of cutting their running game in half. But, you definitely like to see a team like that come back and get those kind of come from behind wins, which the Warhawks are going to have to do at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, nerve-wracking to say the least. Last year the Warhawks beat that team 42-6. My pregame expectations was actually 49-10. So I didn't expect that to be a game in any sense, and it really was, went into overtime. And I think the win, though, was a great way to honor those seniors. We had 19 seniors on the Warhawk football team, and those 19 seniors over their 4 years have compiled a 51-2 record. Absolutely insane. 2 national title games, and really, it's incredible what they've done. They've never lost at home, so the seniors, really, you felt their impact during this game and really over the past 4 years.
Yeah, I saw a lot of the seniors step up in this game. It was a defensive linebacker and then a receiver, and they were just doing crazy things, especially at the end, just because they knew that they were on the line and this is their last, season. So I was really impressed, and I was happy for them that they did a really good job.
Yeah, one thing that we saw a little bit different in this game was the defense coming through, with that pick 6 in the end in the fourth quarter there. So really good to see that defense kind of start to come together a little bit more, and they definitely came up clutch in this game.
Yeah, sweet to see the Warhawks win, but let's move on to the MLB.
So in baseball news, the Cubs shattered the 108-year curse and won the World Series. This game could arguably be the most dramatic game ever played. The game went to 10 innings because of a tie of 6-6 through 9 innings. The 10th inning was delayed 17 minutes because of a rain shower, which left fans at the edge of their seats. The Cubs scored 2 runs from Ben Zobrist, who was named the series MVP. The Indians were looking good after scoring 1 run and had 2 men on, but were unable to score. So the Cubs won it all 8-7. What did you guys think about the rain delay, and did it have an impact on the teams?
If anything, it had a positive effect on the Cubs. I was watching the game, and you heard the Cubs manager Joe Madden talk about how he walked by one of the meeting rooms in the clubhouse, and you just hear them say, to each other, "We got this. We're going to come back out. We're going to win this game." Yeah, they had some kind of slip ups throughout the game, but I think in the end that rain delay was good because it gave them a chance to gather themselves and to kind of rally the troops, really to say. And, it ultimately proved to be positive in the end because they won the World Series.
Yeah, see, I actually don't think that the rain delay really made any difference at all. I thought it was more the difference of who came up to bat there at the start of the 10th inning. You looked at it, the Cubs led out with Schwarber, Chris Bryant, Zobrist, and Addison Russell. That's 4 of your top 5 batters, not counting, like Anthony Rizzo's the only guy that's not in that lineup. So really, the Cubs had the perfect storm. They entered the 10th inning with really the meat of their lineup, the best part of their lineup, and it showed off right away as Schwarber got on base with the first hit, and it really went on from there. And then the Indians, they had a bad part of their lineup coming up. Actually, Napoli led off the 10th inning, and he was only batting 167 in the entire World Series. They ended the inning with Martinez, who didn't have a hit the entire World Series. So really, I think it wasn't as much the rain delay as it was who was coming up to bat for what team.
Well, I know, Colton, you've had your doubts about the Cubs' front four there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Zobrist and Bryant and those guys. But yeah, I mean, they definitely much to my happiness was they really turned it around, especially in that last game, which of course is what they needed to do. And it was just so impressive to see. You know, you've got this team that struggled in this one area, you know, for a while throughout the postseason, and then they brought it all together to pull it out in the end.
Yeah, and as much as we love talking about the World Series, we're going to send it to our first break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about college football and the NBA, so stay tuned here to Peomiosfyrds.
Warhawks know what it takes to become champions. At the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, our student athletes pursue excellence with a determination that inspires everyone on campus. Warhawks are smart. Warhawks are strong. Warhawks value service. We prepare our student athletes for life after college. The University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. Come be part of the Warhawk family.
The UC can get you connected to all your basic needs. Grab a coffee and a meal. Study by the fireplace. Bowl, play, and relax when you want to break from homework. The UC has much more to offer to Whitewater students. Go to the UC's website to see what's going on this week.
Here at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, we ensure the safety of others. Our CSOs provide a number of services, such as vehicle jump starts, vehicle unlocks, building lockouts, and walking escorts. Do not be afraid to call 472-4660. CSOs, always there to protect and serve.
Welcome to the University Bookstore. The University Bookstore provides students with the opportunity to purchase apparel, gift items, textbooks, snacks, supplies, and other necessities right here on campus. The bookstore is also home to textbook rental, where you can find many of your required textbooks. Our friendly staff always goes the extra mile to provide customers with a quick and pleasant experience. Visit the bookstore today to find great deals on everything you need to succeed as a Warhawk.
All right, the first college football playoff rankings came out last week. The selection committee currently has Alabama at number 1, Clemson at number 2, Michigan at 3, and Texas A&M in the 4th and final spot. A&M was upset by Mississippi State this week, 35-28, giving the Aggies their second loss on the season, and surely taking away their number 4 playoff ranking for the time being. While it looks as though the top 3 will remain the same, who's going to grab that 4th spot when the final rankings comes out?
All right, well, I feel like I'm a broken record right now. I'm saying the team, we're already seeing what team is going to break into that playoff ranking spot, and it's Washington. They're already at number 3. They jumped ahead of Michigan. So really, we know that they are at a strong point in that college playoff ranking, and the rest of their schedule is pretty weak, so it's unlikely that they're going to lose for the rest of the season. So they're almost a lock. The one team that I see in the playoff ranking right now that I could see falling out is Michigan, who has to play Ohio State University for the last game of the season, and Ohio State is coming off a 59-point whomping of number 10 Nebraska. That 59-point win is the second most lopsided game between a top 10, between 2 top 10 teams in NCAA history.
I do agree with you that I don't understand that why Washington isn't ranked any better, because they're still undefeated and they're doing great. And also, I agree with you with the Ohio State. I see them winning against Michigan because last year they faced off, and it's been a really big rival. They lost last year, but only to a last-minute field goal. So I see them really defeating Michigan and taking their spot.
I don't think I see Michigan beating Ohio State and staying in the top 4. That's just my opinion. But I do, outside of the top 4 right now, I like Louisville. Lamar Jackson, easily, we've talked about it before, easily the best quarterback in the NCAA right now. I think he's going to come away with the Heisman, and I think he's going to be able to power that offense into the top 4 here in the end. They talk about the whole strength of schedule thing, which, with Louisville, with the exception of Clemson, they really don't have all that tough of a schedule. But regardless, Lamar Jackson's playing unbelievable. Their offense is playing unbelievable. And I think, with A&M definitely being out at this point for right now, although I don't see them being able to sneak back in, being a 2-loss team now. I see Louisville taking that spot, and I see the top 3 staying the same.
Yeah, so selfishly, I want to see Louisville in that playoff game because I really like to see Lamar Jackson single-handedly take out one of those powerhouse teams like Alabama or have another shot at trying to take out Clemson. But honestly, I think it would be sort of unfair to either whichever Big Ten team comes out of the championship unless either Michigan or Ohio State loses in the Big Ten championship game, or it would be disrespectful to either Clemson or Washington. All right, and we're going to move on from the NCAA into the NBA. NBA players love getting redemption against their former team, whether it's because they like showing the fans what they're missing or because they like to show a team's GM that they made a huge mistake letting that player go. This past week, we had a bunch of those redemption games. Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah played their first game against the Chicago Bulls. Kevin Durant played his first game against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Dwight Howard played his first game against the Houston Rockets. These redemption games aren't done yet, as this Thursday, Dwayne Wade will play his first game against the Miami Heat. Which one of these games had hooked you guys the most?
I'm going to say the Warriors, definitely, because there was a lot of hype going into it, especially with the relationship with Westbrook and KD. And I was so surprised that they actually beat them because I was rooting for the Thunder. But, Russell Westbrook was so petty, and he was didn't answer any questions about KD, and it really showed them that Kevin Durant made a good choice of going to the Warriors.
I like that. I liked the Oklahoma City. I like the Oklahoma City game, and I found it kind of interesting. I don't like Russell Westbrook's attitude. First of all, excuse me, but I found it kind of nice that Kevin Durant came out and was like, "I love Russ." I got nothing against the guy, and Russell Westbrook's still over here just complaining and just not being a good sport at all, in my opinion. But I gotta say, my biased opinion towards the better game out of these three, was the Chicago Bulls against the New York Knicks. As much as it pains me to say it, Derrick Rose is playing really well. I miss you, bud. Come back. Not gonna happen, of course. But regardless, I liked what I saw out of the Bulls, despite the outcome of that game. They played well. I think Dwayne Wade is gonna have a great season with the Bulls. People talk about his age and they talk about he's a has-been. I couldn't disagree with that more. I think Dwayne Wade's gonna be awesome for the Bulls. I think he fits in with the system really well, especially with guys like Rajon Rondo, building around him. I think the Bulls are gonna be a solid team.
Yeah, so one of my favorite games there was the Dwight Howard game against his former team in the Rockets. And one of the things is Dwight's one of those go-lucky, happy guys that I actually really root for. The only time I didn't like him was when he forced a trade out of Orlando to get to Los Angeles. But I root for Dwight, and it was really a shame. Last year when he played for the Rockets, their GM, Daryl Morey, actually told their head coach, J.B. Bicker's staff, that they wanted to bench Dwight Howard. They wanted Clint Capella playing more minutes than Dwight Howard. So this is just one of those examples of Dwight showing out against his GM that he's made a huge mistake in everything that he's thinking about. Dwight posted a stat line of 20 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 blocks, and he completely dominated them, especially on the block, which was really interesting because that's one of his weak points. So that was sweet. All right, and we are going to send it to break. Coming up after the break, we're going to take a look at the NFL and the NHL right here on Peomiosfyrds.
The University Center at UW-Whitewater is here to enhance the campus experience. Today, we're going to find out how the UC gets you connected.
The UC gets me connected by providing a great place for me to study.
UC really gets me connected through the different offerings it has between the Warhawk Connection Center, so Impact, SAO.
The UC gets me connected by giving me a great place to socialize with friends.
UC gets me connected by meeting new people, playing pool, bowling.
The UC gets me connected by providing us with charging stations for our phones.
The UC gets me connected thanks to all the wonderful food selections.
Gets me connected to my next meal.
I come to the UC to meet with Spanish Club.
I come to the UC because it's a great place to study.
I come to the UC to get some homework done. My fraternity is always sitting here and they help me and support me to make sure my grades are as high as they can be.
I come to the UC to meet with student orgs. Remember, Warhawks, UC is here to get you connected.
It may come as a surprise, but the Raiders are actually in first place. Derek Carr and his offense have been tearing up the field to make their record 7-2. They lead the AFC West for the first time in 5 years, and Carr is also gaining hype to be actually considered an MVP, after he threw for 513 yards and 4 touchdowns in Week 9. Sunday night, the Broncos and the Raiders met, and the Raiders won 30-20. Will the Raiders lose momentum before the playoffs, and do they have a chance at the division title?
You know, yes, Derek Carr is playing extremely well, and out of all the quarterbacks in the league, I didn't see him to be the one to kind of come out and start surprising people. But you know, I'm happy to see it. The Raiders, I think, are a team that do deserve to have a good season here. They've got a lot of great players. I really like Amari Cooper out of Alabama. I think it's time that he starts to shine a little bit, which I think he will do. In terms of if they're going to come out in the conference, I don't know yet. I just don't know. Kansas City's playing well, although with the recent injury to Jamal Charles, I don't know how much longer that's going to keep up. It's tough for the Broncos to come back, being a 3-loss team at this point, but if I had to say anyone to come in and take that spot away from the Raiders, it would be the Broncos. But at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me a whole lot to see the Raiders keep that spot.
Yeah, I'm buying the Raiders hype, and it's really in this AFC West, it seems like all of the teams are actually really good. You know, the Raiders, especially on the offensive end, the Broncos being a defensive specialist team, and the Chiefs sort of being like a little bit above average at both ends of the field. It's a good division that's really loaded at those top 3 spots. But I think one thing that's going to help out the Raiders tremendously is the massive amount of injuries to the Broncos and to the Chiefs. You spoke about Jamal Charles, but it's not just Jamal Charles. Alex Smith is out, their starting quarterback. Spencer Ware is out, and also their number 1 receiver, Jeremy Maclin, is out. That's 3 of your top priority skill positions. And at this point in the season, a couple losses could get you out of the playoff race at that point. And I know they've won their last couple of games, but they played the Jaguars. They played some soft teams through these injuries, so I think that could catch up with them. And as for the Broncos, I said they're a defensive specialist team, but right now they're riding their 3rd and their 4th string cornerback. And we've seen with the Packers especially, that doesn't get it done. And we saw it against the Raiders last night. The Raiders put up 30 points on that great Denver Broncos defense. It's because they didn't have Aqib Talib and they didn't have Kayvon Webster there shoring up the backfield, bumping those receivers and helping out the defense, helping Von Miller get some of those coverage sacks.
Yeah, I'm really rooting for the Broncos just because they've been so good. But I think the injuries will catch up to them. But in the end, I think the Raiders probably will cinch the playoff spot. But you know, good for them. They haven't been good for a very long time, so props to them.
All right, and let's move on from the NFL into the NHL.
In light of the Chicago Cubs ending their 108-year World Series drought, we look at the NHL's current longest Stanley Cup-deprived team. That team is the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs acquired the number 1 overall pick in this year's NHL draft in Austin Matthews. Matthews has 6 goals on the season, and 4 of those came in his NHL debut. He's the only player to ever score 4 goals in a league debut. The Leafs currently sit in the 4th spot of the Atlantic Division in the Eastern Conference. Are they a playoff contender?
I don't think that they are a playoff contender. I'm not sold on them. Last year, they only won 29 games. We saw other teams in their conference miss the playoffs despite winning 42 games. So that's a 13-game increase. That's a big thing to do, and that wouldn't have even gotten them into the playoffs last year. So that's a big thing. Another thing, you talked about Austin Matthews scoring 6 goals, looking really good as a rookie. What I see in a guy scoring 4 of his 6 goals in that first game, I see defenses adjusting to him. He's scored 2 goals in the last 8 games since that, and I think that's a trend that we'll see throughout the rest of the season. I think it's going to catch up with him because defenses are starting to adjust.
Yeah, you would think that they're from Toronto, they'd be really good at hockey. But, you know, they're on the right, the Maple Leafs are on the right track to being good. They hired a new team president in last year. And so he's really reconstructing the whole team. He's starting from the bottom, and he's fixing the issues, but I really don't see them being a great contender.
You know, there's a number of teams ahead of them that I like, mainly Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has been really hot the last couple of years. They've got a great roster, and I just think that they're going to be the team to beat. They sit at the top right now. But also, you know, you see a couple other teams on the rise. Ottawa's having a great season so far. Boston, you know, Montreal. So I think it's going to be a tough conference, tough division. And, you know, they definitely, I love watching Austin Matthews play. It's been really exciting to see him go out and play as well as he has, especially with that 4-goal debut. But I think for right now, I don't know how much longer the success is going to last for him, given the strength in that conference.
Well, and it's just one of those things that it's so hard for like a single player to make that big of an impact. You know, we very rarely see teams who end up with the first, the second, or the third draft pick make the playoffs the next year just because rookies in basically any sport are unable to make that much of an impact to really push a team that far in front.
Yeah, they do have a pretty tough conference, but they're the bottom third in save percentage in the league, so I don't think that they're going to do much better than they are in terms of defense. But they showed a lot of motivation in this last game, so you can tell that they're giving their all, you know, no matter what the score is if they're down. But they just don't have, they have enough talent, but I just don't think that they're completely working together right now.
Well, going back to what Colton said, it's hard to make a difference with just, you know, when you have one really good guy. And I think that especially goes for hockey. I mean, hockey is such a team-oriented sport. It's just, you know, it's hard to, even if you've got a guy that can score 4 goals in his NHL debut, it's hard to really make a difference with that. So, all right, we're going to take our final break, but when we come back, we'll go through our 2-minute drill. Stay tuned for more Peomiosfyrds.
At the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, we're passionate about learning. Our talented faculty members blend teaching with research, creating hands-on learning experiences for students. Warhawk Pride thrives at UW-Whitewater, where student-athletes excel on the field and in the classroom, where diversity is celebrated. A tradition of excellence 140 years in the making. Find your passion here.
Here at UW-Whitewater Intramural Sports, we have a motto: a sport for everyone and everyone in a sport.
Come on!
Stepped it anyways. Oh, she got that off. They're going to count it.
Had a blast. Always have fun at intramurals.
Every day we strive to go above and beyond that goal by providing healthy exercise, promoting leisure education, and giving students that competitive atmosphere they are looking for.
Yes! Yes!
It's exciting. Brings me back to those high school days with Friday Night Lights.
With our 25 different intramural sports offered, we guarantee that we have a sport for you. Go to our website and find your sport today.
Welcome to Jitters Coffee Lounge. Located on the first floor of the Wells Complex, Jitters is a student-ran, volunteer-based coffee lounge, open nightly from 8 p.m. to midnight. Jitters Coffee Lounge is home to classic hot and frozen drinks, with our favorite, the Oreogasm. Jitters offers live music, karaoke, and comedy events featuring both local and guest talents. For more information, visit our website at uwwjitters.org. Jitters Coffee Lounge. We'll keep you up all night.
Welcome back. Let's run through our 2-minute drill, and I'll get us going. My point in our 2-minute drill is Joel Embiid is leading the NBA in three-point percentage. I want to give myself a little pat on the back for picking him for Rookie of the Year, but it's incredible. He's 6 of 9 for threes on the year, which is insane because, to think about it, Klay Thompson is 9 for 46.
That would be so much cooler if he was actually a rookie. I gotta say, college football upset of the week for me. I'm gonna go TCU over Baylor, number 17, 52-22 win for the Horned Frogs. My sister, who goes TCU, was just so excited about this game, and I'm like, I wish I could be too. But TCU's a 3-loss team, so it doesn't mean anything for them. But regardless, good game to see. I enjoyed it. Go Horned Frogs.
Okay, I'm bringing it back to basketball. It was a bad night for Steph Curry on Friday night against the Lakers. He ended his 157 consecutive record of scoring at least one three-pointer. So we went 0 for 10 on Friday night, and they had an embarrassing loss.
Yeah, the whole Warriors team was struggling. Klay Thompson 1 for 10 or so from 3 on that night. It was brutal. All right, and that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching, and for more national sports news, tune in weekly. For Alex Berggren and Blake Harmet, I'm Colton Hagstrom. See you guys next week.